Radio check, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Hello, we should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to the coverage. Hello, folks. Um, yeah, we are here in Las Vegas. We have only got 3 races left of the season, round number 22 of 24 on the Formula One calendar this year. Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Let me know, folks, if you can hear me. As you can see, we are in a slightly different setup as compared to usual, but hopefully you guys can hear me. It's sounding good, all right. Fantastic. The stream's going to be a little bit more quiet than it is. Well, yeah, a little bit more quiet than it is normally, given that it is now midnight here in the UK. So, yeah, I'm just going to be a little bit more quiet, try not to wake anyone up. And it looks a little bit different, a little tired. Yes, in fact, I was sleeping approximately 14 minutes ago. I had an alarm go off 14 minutes ago to wake me up, so yeah, I do look a little tired. Alright, so there are a few things I do want to mention that are going to be special or here for Las Vegas. We have got the C5 tyres for the softs, the C4 for the mediums, and the C3 for the hards. And those are the second softest of Pirelli's range. Of course, we could have gone one step softer and gone down to the C6s. But we're sticking with the C5s. And the thing here in Las Vegas is that we have extremely low track temperatures. We have got air temperatures. These, the numbers you can see here to my left-hand side are from last year of 17 degrees track temperature, 15 degrees air temperature. But the thing is, we're going to be seeing the similar sort of stuff today as well. And what's going to result is that cars that are not suited to these kind of things, if we look at the average track temperatures throughout the entire season, we probably have around 25-30 degrees or so. Las Vegas really is an outlier in terms of how cold it is, and well, it'll be very interesting for how the drivers deal with the tires for this weekend, how they get them switched on, and will there be some teams that struggle to actually get them warmed up in time? In previous years we've seen some surprising teams do well here because of this unique tire situation. We've seen Ferrari do quite well back in, let's say, 2022, 2023, when their tyre warm-up situation wasn't amazing. Their tyre overheating issue wasn't amazing. But here in Las Vegas, of course, with temperatures so low, that issue sort of disappeared and Ferrari were quick. So we'll see how it happens. We've also got some more forecast. We've also got some rain on the forecast, surprisingly enough. Last race we had was in... was in Interlagos, where we had all the talk about the rain. But even this weekend in Las Vegas, we have got some more rain forecast for tomorrow, and well, we shall see what happens. We shall see if there's a little bit of rain arriving that will really mix things up. Okay. F1 Gamer, today is the day before Friday. Indeed it is. How it works for Las Vegas is that the race is actually held on a Saturday. However, because Las Vegas is minus, I think, 8 hours with respect to Europe, respect to Asia, probably even more with respect to Asia, the race actually happens on a Saturday in Las Vegas, but then people watch it on a Sunday in Europe and in Asia. Okay. I thought this weekend was a sprint weekend. No, it is not a sprint weekend, actually. We have got the next weekend in Qatar being a sprint weekend. We've also got some more news for Qatar, and it is that only the drivers are only allowed to do a maximum of 25 laps on a set of tyres in Qatar, so it's a guaranteed two-stop in Qatar. And the reason for that is Pirelli aren't sure if their tyres are going to last more than 25 laps, being, taking into account that Qatar will be super hot and very, very strenuous on the tyres because it's really got a lot of high-speed corners. So yeah, it's going to be tough on the Pirelli tyres, and that's why they've put a limit of 25 laps per set. So, yeah, guaranteed two stops. So very similar to Monaco, of course, very different type of circuit to Monaco. So we'll see how that plays out, and if we get a similar result like in Monaco, which was quite the boring race. Okay. Yeah, we've got 500 people tuned in. Thanks everyone for tuning in, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. And we are 24 minutes away from the start of FP1. All right. Yeah, folks, if you do have any questions, then be sure to drop them in the chat. We've also got the chat above here, just in between the circuit, and yeah, it's a new addition for this stream. Okay, just looking in terms of the onboards and looking at what the circuit's going to look like on a flying lap. Let me in fact take you through a flying lap of the circuit. I shall just put this on board here. Here we go. All right, let's make this ever so slightly smaller. Okay, so you exit turn number 16, and you've got a very, very long run in towards turn 17. 17 is one of the highest speed corners on the lap, just before this the start finish line. Super duper late onto the brakes for turn 1, and carry as much speed as you can. At that moment in time, sort of. Wait, where's my pause button gone? Oops. Apologies there, folks. So you make your way through turn number 1. As you go through turn number 2, you don't want to go all the way out to the right hand side, because then you've got to get over to the left again for turn number 3. So you sort of compromise your line through 2, then to make sure that you can have a better run through 3 and 4, because then you're flat out. You've got a DRS zone, and while you're going towards turn number 5, great overtaking opportunity, just a direct 90-degree corner, late on the brakes. Hit the apex, and the wall really sort of comes at you. The circuit really tightens up, so the drivers do their best to, of course, avoid that. Turn number 6 is braking and turning at the same time, so pretty tricky there. We could see some lockups, especially if tyres aren't up to temperature. Then through 7, 8, and 9, which are the sort of the trickier parts of the circuit, much more slow speed. 10 and 11 are very, very easy in these cars to go flat. It's not going to be too much of an issue. If it is raining, maybe a little bit more. Turn 12, you've got a little bit of braking and steering at the same time, so the drivers can deal with it. But to be honest, it's not as bad as turn number 6, so the drivers can deal with that very easily. And then you're going down the Las Vegas Strip, of course, between turn number 12 and turn number 14. You've got a very long straight and also a DRS zone for the second half. And then you've just got a triple chicane, shall we say, of turn number 14, 15 and 16 left, then right, and then to the left again, and you are on to the start-finish straight. So that is really a lap of Las Vegas. It's quite a long circuit, actually, and the lap times that we see are approximately in the 1 minute 30 range. You know, George Russell last year did a 1 minute 32.3 for pole, so that is sort of the range that we are looking at. All right. Do you know why Lewis is not driving today? Well, we'll see once the data comes through. But most likely the reason why any of the drivers aren't driving is that the rules dictate that in FP1, sometimes rookies have to drive to make sure that they have sort of enough experience going into a Formula 1. And yeah, exactly for that reason, Lewis Hamilton may not be taking part, but we'll see. We'll get the data coming through shortly. Oh, Mal $2 donation. I'm in Vegas. Says 55% chance rain in 3 to 4 hours. Well, as you can see right at the top of the screen there, FP2 is in 3 hours and 50 minutes. So we may have a wet FP2 session. Well, I shall keep an eye out on the forecast, and we'll sort of see how it goes, really. But good news. I would not have thought that it would rain in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is in Nevada, right? For any of my American fans, I'm pretty sure it's in Nevada. Like, it's in the middle of a desert. So how it's raining, why it's raining, a little bit unknown to me. But here we are. Okay. How can you watch it using Surfshark VPN? It is Service TV, folks. Service TV is the place that you want to watch it this weekend. So you join an Austrian VPN server, go onto Google, search Service TV Formula One, and you can enjoy. All right. Yeah, Nevada in the middle of a desert, and somehow it's got a 55% chance of rain. You know, when Formula One comes to town, everything turns into a circus, and anything can happen. So, good news. Okay. Oh, they do get flooding normally. Interesting. I did not know actually. I would have just thought that. Well, I know that it does rain sometimes in deserts, and when it does rain, it rains pretty hard. But I didn't actually know that Las Vegas floods. So, um, cool, cool. I learn something new every day. All right. What else have we got to talk about? Oh yeah, I've got quite the few interesting statistics and graphs up here actually. So let's bring these up. All right. So let's run through some of these. We have got first up is let's have a look. Well, we've got the qualifying heads-to-heads between Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll. 20-0 to Fernando Alonso. Is that really surprising? Not really. So nicely done there from Fernando. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh yes, the race head-to-heads. Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri. It's 16-10 to Lando Norris. Of course, you have to include, this is including the sprint races as well. If you take into account DNFs, then it is 13-8 to Lando Norris. So, you know, if the drivers get a DNF, you sort of just disqualify that from the results. But regardless, you know, Lando Norris doing a pretty good job, and of course that is why he has scored some more points than his fellow teammates. If we're looking at the qualifying head-to-heads between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, it is 12-9 between the two drivers. But if you can just see, the font's quite small there, but the gap, the mean gap between the two drivers in terms of qualifying performance is half a tenth. That is how close they are on average. Of course, on a few race weekends, you know, Piastri's miles ahead. On a few race weekends, Norris is miles ahead. But on average, it is half a tenth of a second is the gap between the two McLaren drivers during quali. So, well, very, very close. And that's why the championship battle is even going on with 3 races left to go of the season. The Ferrari head-to-head, we've got Charles Leclerc with 19 to Lewis Hamilton 7, so still a pretty good run there from Charles. Of course, the Ferrari drivers, somehow they have got 2 double DNFs in. In China, they both got disqualified, I think, and yeah, in Brazil they both DNF'd, and still they're scored quite well, they're doing really well in the Constructors' Championship considering those double DNFs. Oh yes, looking at the qualifying record, you can see Leclerc is 16-5 to Lewis Hamilton, and then, oh yes, this was the other thing, Oscar Piastri compared to Lando Norris at the previous occasions of the Las Vegas Grand Prix has been on average 1/10 back from his teammate. That, of course, both times his teammate has been Lando Norris, but last year he was very, very close, and in 2023 he was a little bit further away, but he improved from 23 to 24. So if that continues, then he should be close to Lando Norris this weekend. But we'll sort of see how it goes really for Oscar Piastri. His season is sort of falling apart a little bit. You know, he started off the season very strong. I'd say the first half of the season was incredible, and just the level that he was performing at consistently was fantastic. But since then, things have sort of gone downhill a little bit, and he hasn't really been able to deliver in the same way that Lando Norris has been. Right. Let's see. Any test drive of the session? Well, we shall find out. I think the data is just going to come through in a moment's time. In fact, here we go. The data is just coming through. I don't know why it's saying... Oh, there we go. Right, 30 seconds now till the data comes through. All right. Let's see. I'm so tired, chat. Yes, I think quite a lot of us are, depending on where you are in the world. But I'm not going to complain too much because I know that we've got quite the fan base in Australia and in New Zealand, and they get up for some very, very awful time zones throughout the year. And for them, I'm sure this one is quite the nice bit of fresh air. Okay. So here we go. I think we've got the 2025 data. All right, brilliant. So let me just pop it into qualifying mode. So no, folks, we don't have any rookies taking part by the looks of it. We have got all of our normal 20 Formula 1 drivers taking part. No rookies to be seen. So that is good news for anyone that's watching their... Well, hoping to watch their favourite driver do some laps. We've got track temperature at 19 degrees Celsius, air temperature at 14 degrees Celsius. The wind is at 5.4 kilometers per hour, not windy whatsoever. And currently, there is no rain. The risk of rain, however, is 10% right now for free practice 1, and apparently, according to the forecast, the risk of rain for free practice 2 is 55%. All right. Yeah, it's not really the track for rookies. That is correct. We will probably see, well, yeah, as long as you're not in a championship battle, we'll probably see some rookies in Abu Dhabi. However, you don't want to be sending rookies out in Las Vegas, given just how narrow the circuit is, how close the walls are. After all, it is a street circuit, and yeah, the likelihood of a rookie crashing is really, really high. FP1 on a Thursday. The way that the FP1s work, well, the way that the races work when you're in Las Vegas and the time zones are shifted this significantly, is that in Las Vegas it will be a Thursday, or maybe if you're in a few of American time zones, it will also be a Thursday. But for the majority of the rest of the world, it is going to be a Friday. So, yeah, it depends on where you are around the world. And the race in Las Vegas will be held on Saturday in Las Vegas time, but for me watching here in the UK, it'll be a Sunday. And for someone watching in, Asia, in Singapore, in Japan, it will be also a Sunday. Right. Are you sitting in the bathroom, shower curtain behind you? No, this is my curtain to my window, as you can see there. Yeah. Why are they in the pits? They're going to be coming out onto the circuit in 11 minutes' time. The session has not begun. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a new setup. Well, yeah, it's a new setup. For since I've done my face reveal. Normally I'm at university, but I've got I've got a 1 week break in university, so I've come back to live with my parents for a week because, well, I can. So yeah, the setup looks slightly different. The main reason I've come back is that, I wouldn't be waking up my roommates at 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. doing commentary. My room at home is much quieter. Is the handheld microphone new? No, the handheld microphone is the same microphone that I've had for probably the last 3 years now. I don't know, 2 years probably. Is the track wet? No, it is not. There is forecast for rain a little bit later on, but right now the track is dry. We've got all the standard drivers coming out, no upgrade packages to be seen, everyone focusing on 2026 in terms of car upgrades, and, well, I expect to see Max Verstappen very, very competitive with the McLarens this weekend, and my sole reason for thinking that is that McLaren have had a really good advantage in the past few races because of their their tyre management. Essentially, it's a little bit better than the other teams, and we've seen this especially from Lando Norris. In Mexico when it was super hot, we still saw that. We saw Lando Norris win by an absolute huge margin in Mexico because he could manage his tyres better than everyone else and still have consistent, really good pace. And here in Las Vegas, he's not really going to be able to use that advantage. He does have a tyre wear advantage, but because track temperatures are so low, it's not really going to matter all that much. And I think Verstappen will be a little bit closer. I think George Russell in the Mercedes also will be very, very close as well. So, yeah. Okay. You came back for the food, just admit it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I can cook good food, I could say, but nobody can cook really as good as your mum can. So, yeah, I coming back for the food is also a pretty big motivator. Oh, we've got a donation here. Sam Taylor 2012. Good day from Adelaide, Australia. Very nice time to enjoy your stream. Thanks, Larry. Cheers, Sam. Thanks for the donation. Hope you enjoy the coverage. And have a lovely day in Adelaide. I'm sure it's nice and sunny in Australia. Okay. Let's see. ORF on Service TV aren't working. I don't know if that's an issue that everyone's having, but I would probably just wait till the session starts. Sometimes we don't get the broadcast actually starting in time of, sometimes it just takes a while for a Service TV to get going, I think. But who knows? Alright, drivers are getting in their cars. Indeed they are, and we'll be getting underway shortly. Let's see, what else have we got to talk about? We'll see what Ollie Behrman can do. Behrman's had quite a few good weekends. He had a good weekend in Mexico, and we can see what he can do now here in Las Vegas. Another street circuit, of course, he debuted with his first ever race in Formula 1 at a street circuit in Abu Dhabi, and in fact performed really, really well at it when he was replacing Carlos Sainz. He then also replaced Kevin Magnussen in Baku, and did a great job there. So Behrman is quite good at these street circuits. Of course, a lot of these rookies have never driven here before, and most of these Formula 1 drivers also don't have all that much experience. They've only raced here in 23 and in 24. So, yeah, it's good to see that. Well, it's gonna be interesting to see how the rookies deal with this challenge of a totally new circuit. They've dealt with it many, many times earlier on in the season, but it's a new street circuit that they haven't raced at before. They'll probably have raced at Baku before because Formula 2 races there and stuff like that, but big change here for Las Vegas. Sorry to say, but Bortoleto, despite racing well and on place with other drivers, doesn't have good results. Well, Bortoleto, of course, isn't in the quickest car. If we look at the constructor standings here, we can see that Kick Sauber is in 9th position. They've only got 62 points to their name. However, you look at the qualifying performances of Gabriel Bortoleto compared to Nico Hülkenberg. Nico Hülkenberg, by the way, who has got, over probably 400 races, I think, maybe, or definitely over 300 races in Formula 1. And Bortoleto has quite consistently out-qualified Nico Hülkenberg. So the fact that he has done that in his rookie season is a really big testament to the raw speed that he has. Now, these race performances that he's making mistakes in, he's not delivering every single time, that, of course, is something that can be worked on. But raw speed, raw talent sometimes can't be improved past a certain point. But the fact that Bortoleto can come in to a Formula 1 seat and go toe-to-toe with a very, very experienced driver like Nico Hülkenberg is a pretty good sign. Of course, Nico Hülkenberg is not outright, right there at the the best of Formula One. I'd say maybe, Max is probably a little bit better, so is probably George Russell. So, comparing those two drivers probably isn't comparing Antonelli to George and comparing Bortoleto to Hulkenberg is a little bit of a different thing. But Bortoleto has no doubt done a good job for a rookie season. Interesting to see how Audi will perform. I think Audi will do brilliantly, actually, given that they've obviously signed Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas, two of the most experienced drivers on the Formula One grid, two of the quickest drivers as well on the Formula One grid. They'll have a lot of knowledge to go behind them, and by the looks of it, Cadillac, they've put out a few videos on social media in terms of what they're up to and how the teams are doing pit stop practice and things like that, but I think Cadillac are very much in good hands, and they've got a lot of motor racing experience in other categories, so they'll be able to transfer a lot of that knowledge in towards Formula One. Is this an app? It is Multiviewer Formula One. That is what you get. Multiviewer is the name of the tool, and if you want to get something like this up on your screen, then that's how you do it. But you do need a Formula One subscription, F1 TV subscription, and there's a link for that in the description. Okay, so here we are then, just about to get cars out onto the circuit, 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. Another thing I'd like to mention about the Constructors' Championship here, you can see Mercedes is in second position, 398 points to their name, Red Bull 366, Ferrari 362. Ferrari were in contention for second position in the Constructors' Championship, but after that double DNF last weekend out in Brazil, we have not got they're not really going to be fighting for second position. They're very much going to be fighting for third place with Max Verstappen against Red Bull. So we'll see how it happens for the Ferrari team, and they're only 4 points back from Red Bull, so they should be in for a good shot of third position, given that they've got two drivers that can score points rather than just one in the form of Max Verstappen for Red Bull. What does Cadillac race in other than IMSA? I think Cadillac also races in World Endurance Championship. No, they race in WEC. And also, Cadillac is part of General Motors, and General Motors has a lot of sort of motor racing, motorsport experience. So it's not just Cadillac per se. General Motors will be transferring a lot of knowledge from other teams and from other sort of General Motor companies in towards Cadillac to make sure that they've got the right people on the job for Formula One. Okay. So, alright then. And also, just another thing for the Constructors' Championship, we've still got Aston Martin, Haas, and Kick Sauber all fighting away for 7th, 8th, and 9th. One good weekend, one double points finish, and the other two teams don't perform so well, you could find yourself very much higher up in the Constructors' Championship. So, if Aston Martin have 3 brilliant weekends, they could probably outscore Racing Bulls and get onto 6th position in the championship. Same thing for Haas. Same thing also for Kick Sauber. We'll sort of see how it goes really with 3 races left of the season. Okay. Folks, the pink tyre is just an unmarked tyre. Nobody's actually going out on the pink tyres. Once they go out onto the circuit, we'll get the updated sort of what tyre they're actually on. It's the C5 for the softs, the C4 for the mediums, and the C3 for the hard tyres. Verstappen pole, I don't really know if Verstappen's going to get pole, but I can tell you one thing for certain, the gap between the McLarens is not going to be as big as what we saw previously. I think it's going to be a lot closer. Let's see. Alright, but the drivers are in the cars, and, they're ready to get going now. They'll take the tyre warmers off shortly, and they'll be making their way towards the end of the pit lane. Alright. F1 Gamer, who's your favourite driver apart from Seb? I mean, that's a tough one, really, because Seb Vettel is really just my favourite driver. Anyone apart from Seb, I'd probably go with maybe Yuki Tsunoda or Fernando Alonso, really. Not all too sure, but this is my phone wallpaper there, and it is you can see Seb Vettel's last win with Ferrari in 2019 at Singapore. So yeah, still a Seb Vettel fan, even though that he has retired. All right. Yeah, Isaac Hadjar out onto the circuit. Track map says 2024. Where does it say 2024 on the track map? Oh, that's the 2024 pole time was from George Russell. Oh, let me, in fact, since we've now got the team radios coming through, here we go. We'll be getting the team radios coming through shortly on the bottom of the screen. So, and I should also get rid of the huge bit of text that says 2025 data is loading, since the data has now loaded. There we go. All right, and we're getting the team radios coming through as well. Fantastic. Okay, we have got Hadjar, Gasly, Behrman, Ocon, Tsunoda, Leclerc, Colapinto, and Antonelli and Lawson, and a few more drivers making their way out onto the circuit, all on medium sets of tyres to start out free practice 1. Brilliant. The track does look like an upside down pig. That is correct. There's no other way really to put it. And I would say it's an okay racetrack. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near the best. I think Formula One could have picked much better. If they wanted to be in America, they've of course got they've got Watkins Glen, which would have been a fantastic track to race at. They've, of course, got Indianapolis, which is, I would say, maybe if not the home of motor racing, at least it is in America, one of the biggest centres of motor racing, shall we say. And they've picked Las Vegas instead, which isn't what I would do. Let's put it that way. The clouds do look sort of ominous, don't they, folks? If you have a look at if you have a look off into the distance, some ominous clouds, and a little bit later on we have got a chance of rain around 55%. Laguna Seca, yes, Laguna Seca would be pretty good. Caesar's Palace. The thing with the Laguna Seca is that the corkscrew, the corkscrew corner, it is too sharp for Formula One cars. Like, it drops off too quickly, and the Formula One cars would literally bottom out, and the floor would just crash into the ground at probably speeds of 120 kilometers per hour or something, which isn't the smartest thing to do. So unfortunately, as much as we would love to race at Laguna Seca, it's not going to happen unless, of course, the cars get a little bit higher up and the geometry and the dimensions change and stuff like that. But we've got other great circuits like Road America as well. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. Daytona, Daytona, of course, they have the inner circuit at Daytona. You don't have to run the tri-oval. You can run the inner course as well, which would be pretty cool. They have so many options, and they pick on Las Vegas. I mean, it's just not really... It's money talks, essentially. Let's put it that way. It's not hashtag We Racers Run. I can't even talk. It's not hashtag We Racers One. It's hashtag We Race as Money. Yeah. All right. Anyway, enough about different circuits that we could race at. We are currently here in Las Vegas, so we might as well talk about the track here. The circuit is going to be very much green. There's going to be a lot of dirt, debris, sand, dust, whatever, all on the track, so it's going to take a while for the lap times to start tumbling. Currently we're up in the 146s, last year's pole time on 132, so we're 14 seconds off, and I suspect those lap times are going to drop off around about in the first half an hour or so is when we're going to lose about 7 seconds of lap time, and then from there the track will get gradually quicker and quicker as we make our way towards qualifying. But of course there is the chance of rain a little bit later on, which will screw with everyone's plans. F1 can't handle the banking at Daytona. Isn't the banking at Daytona less than the banking in Zandvoort? I think that the Zandvoort banking is 37 degrees at its biggest, but to be honest, I don't remember that. That was quite a while ago. So, but also, I guess in Zandvoort you're only on that banking for probably like 4 seconds, whereas in Daytona you're on the banking for way, way longer. So, who knows? Okay. Carlos Sainz, top of the times, a 1:41 from him, and there we go. Lap times have tumbled quite significantly already, and yeah, good to see from the Spanish driver. Alex Albon also looking pretty good. Of course, this is a very low downforce circuit here in Las Vegas. We've got very, very long straights, very few number of sort of significant corners. We have got corners like turn 10, but realistically the drivers aren't braking for 10. They aren't braking for turn number 11. Neither are they braking for 13 or 17. So, you take off all of the irrelevant corners, shall we say, where the drivers aren't actually braking. You've got a very few number of braking points and not many high-speed corners, so the drivers can get away with a low downforce setup. And as we know, the Williams perform quite well when it is low downforce time and top speed time. So of course the top speeds will be quite relevant around here. The white dot, wherever it is, it will be, just there where Liam Lawson is, just crossing before turn number 15. That is where the speed trap is, so that's where the top speeds will be measured for the drivers. Okay, where can I watch FP1? FP1, you guys, you can watch with Surfshark VPN for all you have to do is join the Austrian VPN server and then Servers TV and then type F1. But that should work. Apparently it wasn't working a few minutes ago, but I think it's alright now. But do let me know. Alright. Drivers out onto the circuit. We've got Fernando Alonso out on a set of soft tyres. We've got Nico Hülkenberg out on a set of hards. But apart from that, everyone else is on mediums. Alright, what else is everyone else? What is everyone else saying? Still got some people talking about Long Beach. Long Beach is pretty good, actually. Talladega, I think everyone's watched, not everyone will have watched Talladega Nights, but it is quite a good film, actually. A nice sort of, just a bit of a relaxing, fun film, Talladega Nights. Something to watch on a Friday night, maybe in between Free Practice 1 and Free Practice 2. That might be a good idea, actually. Quite the good movie. Sebring. Yes, Sebring would actually be a great circuit, wouldn't it? We do have some endurance racing happening at Sebring. Is it the 6 hours of Sebring? Or is it maybe the 12? I can't remember. But yes, Sebring is also a great track. There are so many good opportunities, man. Okay. Isaac Hadjar now top of the times, just ahead of Charles Leclerc. Esteban Ocon goes purple in the middle sector, and oh my god, look at this, we've already got a queue to the bottom right of me. We've got a big old queue here into the final chicane, and this is something that we see happening very often during qualifying, given the fact that we haven't got many corners, lots of long straights, and everyone is trying to everyone's trying to sort of get a good run out onto the main straight. Everyone backs themselves up at turn number 15. It causes a big old traffic jam, and some drivers end up getting blocked. So we'll see how the drivers deal with that, but it should be all right. Las Vegas as a whole is still a reasonably long racetrack. Sebring is way too bumpy. Okay, have not actually watched any races at Sebring. I've played a game, where I've driven at Sebring, but I haven't actually watched any races. So maybe it is really bumpy. It probably is, given that you guys are saying it. So yeah, maybe they'll have to do something about that for Formula One, because otherwise the cars would just start porpoising all over again. All right. Yeah, Carlos Sainz improves. Behrman up into third position. We have got the Astons down in the last drivers that have yet to set a lap. We've still got Verstappen, Piastri, Russell yet to set a lap, but they are on the flying lap right now. In fact, yeah, Verstappen, Piastri, and Russell, all three are on flying laps. Brilliant. Charles Leclerc, purple sector 1, purple sector 2, looking good. Hamilton up into 4th position. Liam Lawson across the line up into 7th. Here comes Charles Leclerc. Big old gap in front of him between Lawson, so no slipstream, sorry, but he doesn't need it. He goes top of the time, 6/10 clear of Isaac Hadjar, a 1:38.1, and we are now 6 seconds away from last year's pole time. And the drivers DRS in sprint and quali races. The drivers can use DRS normally in sprint races, just in the same way that they'd use it in a race, being within 1 second of the driver ahead. And during qualifying, the drivers can use DRS in the DRS zone, so wherever they want. Yeah. Okay. Is there another way to watch Formula 1 apart from Service TV? It's not working. Well, there's one chat message just below. You set your VPN to Hungary and use M4 Sport. So maybe that'll work if Service TV is not working. I do apologise for those issues, folks. They require a gigantic paddock area. That is true. The thing is, though, of course, Las Vegas did not have any Formula One facilities. Neither did Miami before Formula One actually arrived there and paid them a bunch of cash to sort of build those facilities. So, Formula One didn't pay the cash. Someone else foot the bill for Formula One. But, the same thing could have been said for Sebring. Same thing could have been said for Daytona. So, who knows? Oh, a few people are getting Service TV working, so maybe there's some issues again, but maybe just try again, and it may start working a little bit later on. Track temperature is still at 18 degrees Celsius. This is the lowest track temperatures that we have seen for the entire season, and clearly you can see that some drivers are dealing with it well, some drivers not so much. Max Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda, both of them top of the times. Well, not top of the times, second and third position. Driver that's top of the times is Carlos Sainz, medium tyres for him, and he has just gone 4/10 clear of Pierre Gasly. Hulkenberg on hards, Alonso on softs already. Yeah, it's a little bit strange, but I guess the teams just want to get a bit of information in terms of what those tyres are doing right now. I guess, who knows really. Soft Weekly, thanks for the $2 donation. I catch you live anytime I can. Big fan. So thanks for the donation. Thanks for the nice joke as well, and appreciate it, buddy. Yeah. All right. Ollie Behrman up into 10th position, and all of the drivers sort of just doing warm-up laps, cool-down laps, warm-up laps, cool-down laps, and, getting a feel for the circuit, getting drivers into the rhythm, because at a street circuit, most of the drivers aren't going 100% attack from the start. They're building it up, they start out at 70%, then 75%, then 80%, then 85%, and they build themselves up in time for doing those race runs where they need to probably attack about 90% of the time, because they want some representative data, and then once you get closer and closer to quali, the drivers get close to that 100% mark. All right. Yeah. Charles Leclerc now up into top of the times. It keeps alternating between Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, doesn't it? Both of them doing quite well here. The track's going to green in like crazy towards the end of the session. Yeah, it's really gonna rubber in for sure. But of course, if the rain arrives in FP2 as is some forecast predictions, then we may get all of the rubbering in sort of just for no reason, because the rain's going to wash it all away. In terms of top speeds here, you can see Oscar Piastri quickest through the speed traps, 341 kilometers per hour. The rest of the drivers not able to match that exactly. I think Hulkenberg got a little toe from Lando Norris when, we've got a yellow flag. What's that for? Oh, no, never mind. But Hulkenberg got a little toe from Lando Norris when he did his run. Norris drastically slower at 327 kilometers per hour. So there's always a big difference here between the drivers that do get a toe and between the drivers that don't. It does contribute significantly to your lap time. So again, it's going to be very important for a team like Red Bull to get Tsunoda into Q3 to make sure that they can make sure that Max Verstappen will get a toe. We'll see if Lauren Mickey's does that, but with 3 races left of the season, they've got to throw everything at the McLarens and then also hope for some mistakes if Max Verstappen wants to win this world title. All right. Hulkenberg, top of the times on a set of hard tyres. I don't know how he does it. I mean, I know how he does it. He does it partially with a little toe in the final sector, but regardless, very, very good job there from him. Tsunoda, in fact, just goes and beats him there, and he goes purple in the final sector. Not quickest through the speed traps, however, but he is very, very quick regardless. And 336 kilometers per hour for Tsunoda. Max goes a little bit quicker in the speed traps, a lot quicker in terms of lap time, and is 6/10 clear of his teammate. First driver into the 1 minute 36s. Very nice job there from Max. All right, Lance Stroll improves up into 5th position, Sainz improves up into 2nd, Charles Leclerc's purple in the 1st sector, Lando Norris is purple in the middle sector, and, Lando Norris is not purple in the middle sector. Lando Norris is pretty quick, but not purple. And is he going to get a toe off his teammate as they go down the start-finish straight? In fact, it looks like McLaren has sort of organised some sort of toe, maybe on purpose, maybe not. Oh, I've also just realised that my mic thing is covering up a little bit of the... Oh, I should probably move that there, shouldn't I? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Hamilton, for whatever reason, is in 19th position. Alex Albon is in the pit, so it looks like some more issues there for the Williams team in terms of power units. I don't see any reason why Alex Albon should be sat in the pit lane with 15 minutes gone in the session. He's only done 3 laps on a single set of medium tyres and then has found his way back into the pits. So, yeah, some more issues there for Alex Albon, unfortunately. And in fact, as I say, that he makes his way out onto the circuit. So whatever it wasn't too big of a problem. Probably just an engine restart and a software reset in terms of all of the ECUs and everything, and he should be good to go. Brilliant. All right, we've got 3,500 people tuning into live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Goes a long way to helping out the channel, as always. And, yeah. All right, Colapinto up into 16th position. We have got Antonelli up into 6th. And, yeah, lap times just rapidly improving. And we'll be getting closer and closer, probably to the 134 mark, 135 mark. At that point, we're not going to see too much more improvement, because at that point, we'll need softer tyres and less fuel for the drivers to start going quicker and quicker. Piastri, though, purple in the final sector again. He's got really good in this final sector. I don't know if that's down to slipstreams or just outright pace through the final couple of corners, braking extra late with a little bit more commitment, but he's 3rd fastest through the speed traps at 341 Ks, and he is purple in the final sector again. Admittedly, though, that's only in 14th position there, even though he's gone purple in the final sector, and that's because his middle sector was very, very slow. It was approximately 2 seconds off the pace. Okay. Smooth operator indeed. Carlos Sainz is looking good here. We'll see what Alex Albon can do now that he's actually out onto the circuit. He is currently on a flying lap. Antonelli is in 6th position. Lewis Hamilton is in 7th. George Russell in 8th. Fernando Alonso in 9th. Hulkenberg is in 11th. He's into the pits again. And Ocon improves up into 12th. Gasly is in 10th. And here comes Max Verstappen. Purple in the first sector, not so great in the middle, purple again in the final sector, and he goes half a second clear of Carlos Sainz. Sainz goes second fastest in the speed traps at 341 kilometers per hour. Charles Leclerc goes purple in the first sector. Oh my goodness me, just loads of improvement going on in from every single angle. Stroll has just gone purple in the middle sector. What? Stroll has gone purple in the middle sector. Very, very interesting, because that sector has got the most corners in it. You know, if Stroll had went quickest in the final sector, which has just got two huge straights, I would have understood. But a really good middle sector there from Stroll, and up into 3rd position. Prime Stroll is back, yeah. Stroll is back. We've got Albon improving up into 14th position. He's not got too much. Yeah, he's not got too many laps under his belt, to be honest. He's got half the number of laps that Carlos Sainz has. So we'll cut him a little bit of slack, and we'll see what we can do by the end of the session. Hamilton improves up into 3rd position. Charles Leclerc on a flying lap improves by 2 more tenths than his teammates, and up into 1st position for Charles Leclerc. He goes a tenth ahead of Max Verstappen. The Ferrari's looking pretty racy this weekend and look to be on par with Max Verstappen and the Red Bull team. Now the question remains is, will Max Verstappen and will Ferrari be close to the McLarens, or will they be a long time, well, not a long time away, a long distance away? Stroll is faster than you. Oh yeah. Fernando Alonso will be getting that radio at some point. You know, if Stroll actually, okay, question here, folks. If Aston Martin is the fastest team in 2026, will Fernando Alonso get team radio messages from the team saying like, "Oh, let Stroll by for it to be fair," or just whatever? Like, Alonso will never listen to team radios. Like, we know this for a fact. But do you think the team will even try to tell Fernando Alonso team radios? To be honest, I don't even think it's going to happen, because let's just say, if Adrian Newey has cooked up an incredible car design for 2026 and Aston Martin are the quickest team on the grid, I don't think Stroll and Alonso are going to be anywhere near each other on the circuit. I think they're going to be quite far apart, and hence team orders isn't really going to matter all that much. Because, I have got the qualifying head-to-head between the two drivers at Aston Martin, and it is 20-0 to Fernando Alonso. That is correct, folks. 20-0 to Fernando Alonso this season. It's not really going to be much of a battle, I think, next season either. All right. Yeah. We've got Piastri up into 5th position there. Nice improvement on his previous lap. All right. Next year, Stroll 24-0 next year. Maybe. Stroll will just have to activate Plan C, and they'll build his car for combat, and then it's game over for Fernando Alonso, clearly. All right. So here we are then. We are 25 minutes into free practice 1, 36 minutes remain, and we have got Max Verstappen top of the times, Charles Leclerc in 2nd, Carlos Sainz 3rd, Hamilton 4th, Piastri 5th. The drivers will be finishing up their runs here on the medium tyres. They've done their fair share of hot, cold laps. I expect to see probably... Oh, another yellow flag. Oh, Stroll has brought out the yellow flag at turn 12. Have we got an epic Stroll moment? No, track clear. And Stroll is moving once again. So Not a Stroll moment just yet. He has brought out the yellow flag, but has managed to keep it out of the barriers and continues onwards. Epic recovery. Yeah, let's get the replay up, see what happened to Lance Stroll. Okie dokes. My heart dropped there, lol. Yeah, it is, Stroll always keeps you on your toes. All right, and yeah, so the drivers into the pits now. Stroll, in fact, also into the pits. Ocon into the pits. Yeah, a lot of drivers, I suspect, will be coming into the pits very soon, and they'll be, well, changing some things on the car, really. Then nobody's ever going to get the setup absolutely perfect on the first run, so the drivers will have driven around, they will have felt what's right with the car, what's wrong with the car, and they will, of course, make those changes in preparation for the second half. Am I streaming for the race? Indeed, I am. I will be streaming for the race. We'll be streaming for qualifying. Might be a little bit long in terms of when I'm waking up, because I've got a few alarms set for, I think it's... when are the alarms set, actually? The alarms are set for 3:25 a.m. Yeah, to wake up in time to commentate for qualifying, but it should be okay. All right. Yeah, Stroll just had a little spin, folks, and went on to the runoff area at turn number 12, rather than, of course, going into the barriers, which was a good decision at the end of the day. No need to go into the barriers when you have a little mistake and just, well, miss your braking point. Okay. Yeah, also, another thing I'd like to point out here, folks, if Carlos Sainz had set his theoretical best lap time here, so if Sainz hooks up his best sector 1, 2, and 3, he will go quicker than Max Verstappen by a quarter of a second. So, really, really quick there from Carlos Sainz, and yeah, he's just got to hook up sector 1, 2, and 3. Am I commentating free practice 2? Yes, I will be commentating free practice 2 indeed. Why is everyone stopping? Everyone is, well, they've done their first runs. They need to do their setup changes to make the cars, well, suit the drivers a little bit better. And then once they've done that, they'll make their way back out onto the circuit to do some more long runs. And in the final, maybe 10 minutes or so, we'll be getting some short runs as well. Well, it's about 27 hours from now. It is indeed. We can see that FP2 is in 3 hours and 2 minutes time, and qualifying starts at the exact same time that FP2 does. So just 24 hours later. So 27 hours, and qualifying will be underway. Rookie of the year, in your opinion? Oh, okay. It's tough, isn't it? Antonelli's done well. So's Bortoletto. So's Behrman. So's Isaac Hadjar. So I am going to have to give it to Isaac Hadjar, but the rest of the drivers, I've got to say, are very, very close, with the exception, of course, of Colapinto. But Behrman's done brilliantly with his result out in Mexico. Bortoletto's been fantastic when it comes to qualifying pace against Hulkenberg. Antonelli's had his moments in the spotlight as well. Of course, losing out to George Russell reasonably consistently, but Russell is at the top of his game, really, and you can't expect a rookie to come in on their first season and compete with George Russell. So overall, I'd say Isaac Hadjar, just for his incredible consistency throughout the season, and yeah, dealing with a lot of that, dealing with the Red Bull team as well. Just, it's an interesting environment, to say the least. Okay. Hadjar over the radio talking about someone blocking him. Classic stuff in Las Vegas. You've not got a lot of visibility around here as well because it is a street circuit. You haven't got this wide expanse to look off, 3 corners off into the distance. You've got a wall there, and Oscar Piastri currently is driving heading towards turn number 7. At this point, he can barely see Alex Albon's car because it's behind a series of walls, and it causes a lot of problems for drivers in terms of blocking each other. So they've got to be very careful with listening to their engineers over the radio. Yuki's locking in. Yeah, Yuki's only 0.3 off Max Verstappen, which is good to see. And, he scored a few points, I think, recently, which is a step in the right direction. So good job there from Tsunoda. Okay, here we go then. Half an hour completed of free practice 1, half an hour remains. We're getting quite a big difference here in top speeds. The quickest that we're seeing is 3:45. Quite a lot of drivers doing 3:43. And then we drop down quite significantly towards the bottom of the times. Antonelli there, 3:37, Norris 3:35, so Gasly 3:31, Behrman 3:24, and Colapinto the slowest 3:19. So nearly a 25 km/h difference between the slowest and the fastest drivers in the speed traps. Of course, we know the Alpine engine isn't all that great in a straight line, so we can sort of account for that in the form of Colapinto, but yeah, not great. And of course, different downforce packages for different teams as well to add up into the mix. And then, of course, you've also got the big factor of a big old toe going down in towards turn number 14 and 15, which is where we have got our speed trap. Everyone Gamer, what time is it where you are? In Croatia, it's 2 a.m. In the UK here, it is 1 a.m. 1 a.m. and 1 minute. All right. Keep Yuki in, yes. I think that is the correct choice, actually. I think it is a good choice to keep Yuki Tsunoda in the Red Bull team. He will have done a lot of simulator work to develop the 2026 car alongside Max Verstappen. The Red Bull team will have been extremely cautious not to design a car that is so totally oriented to Max Verstappen that the second driver cannot drive it. And for that reason, Tsunoda has, contributed significantly and has a major part of his driving style sort of embedded into the 2026 car. So it would not make a lot of sense really to get Tsunoda to develop the car, make it to his liking, then get rid of him from the team and swap him out with maybe Isaac Hadjar, because they have got different driving styles. We've seen how big of an impact it's had at Red Bull already, so it would make sense to continue on with the same drivers, giving good feedback. And the other thing is that Red Bull does need someone a little bit more experienced. Of course, they've got Max Verstappen, but Hadjar will not have as much experience giving feedback to his engineers, giving the exact detailed knowledge of, the car's understeering in the mid-corner of turn number 7, and it's oversteering on the exit of turn number 12, or whatever it is. Tsunoda's got a little bit more practice doing that, and that will be very handy for the Red Bull team. So, in my personal opinion, it would make sense to keep Tsunoda at Red Bull for 2026, at least for the first half of the season. If he performs badly and he's not doing great, then sure, you can replace him, but you've got to keep him in for the first half. Lindblad needs F2 more. Yeah, that is correct. Lindblad's he's shown signs of talent, but would I call him the next Max Verstappen? Probably not, at least not in this current state. He still had quite a few significant incidents in Formula 2 that could have been avoided and were very much driving errors. So we'll see if that changes in his second year of Formula 2. In your opinion, can Max still win the World Drivers' Championship? Well, look, everything is theoretically possible until it's not, and the way that it works in Formula 1 is that Norris is going to need a DNF, most likely. There's no way that, Norris is going to finish in 9th or 10th position and Verstappen's going to win for the next 3 races in a row. Norris is probably going to need a DNF in 1, if not 2 of these races if Max is going to win. I'll quickly just pull up the Drivers' Championship here up on the screen. Lando Norris is on 390 points. Max Verstappen is on 341. So Max is going to have to win 2 races back to back, with Lando Norris scoring no points whatsoever. And only then will he be 1 point ahead of Norris in the championship. So, we've just zoomed in there. Let me get rid of that. But yeah, essentially, that's how it's going to be. If Norris DNFs out of 2 races, Max wins both of those, then he's in with a shot. Otherwise, highly, highly unlikely. So my answer would be probably no. Okay. Hulkenberg improves up into 10th position on a set of soft tyres. That is good to see there from Nico Hulkenberg. All right, yeah, soft tyres, and we'll be getting the rest of the drivers coming out on softs as well. Clearly, they've looked at the hard tyre run from Nico Hulkenberg, weren't all that impressed by it, and then decided, oh no, we'll do some soft tyre running. We'll save the hard tyre running for a little bit later on in the weekend. Okay. Let's see, Ferrari going to dominate 2026? Well, it's next year is always Ferrari's year, isn't it? It's been that way since 2007. So we shall see if next year is Ferrari's year, but they're in first and second position right now. So the Ferrari meme is back, folks. It's a Ferrari 1-2, and the cycle continues as always. We haven't got to absolute depression just yet, but we're in the we're so back phase. We'll see what happens a little bit later on in the weekend, and if they can hold that up in qualifying. Toyota's going to bring Haas up a lot. They're a perfect fit for development purposes, and there'll be a thing next year. Toyota, yes, that is correct. Toyota is fantastic in endurance racing, and a lot of the stuff in endurance racing does carry over. Of course, it is another super high level of motorsport, so Toyota will be helping out the Haas team, and that'll be great to see. Must be the less talking. Yes, of course. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but is it the Ferrari CEO or someone pretty high up in Ferrari? I think John Elkann is his name. He said that the Ferrari drivers should focus on the driving and not the talking. And to be honest, that is a very, very bad take, because the Ferrari drivers do some pretty solid work. They have had their occasions of making some mistakes here and there, but to be honest, the team just really hasn't delivered a car that Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc could compete at the top with, and it has been that for a number of years. They've done it with Alonso, they've done it with Vettel, they're now doing it with Leclerc and Hamilton. It is just the Ferrari way, shall we put it, and it's not great, really. Not great whatsoever. All right. The Nepo baby chairman. Oh, okay, right. Makes sense, doesn't it? But either way, a lot of these people just don't really know what's going on, and they'll make whatever statement because they think that they're correct, and, well, they clearly aren't correct, so it's not the end of the world, though. He's just made a statement to the press, and then everyone has just called him an idiot, basically, so I think he will have learned his lesson, and he will do a little bit less talking next time. Yeah. Lewis Hamilton, purple in the first sector, looking good there for him. Charles Leclerc also improving in the first sector. The soft tyre runs not being all that quick so far. We're only in the 1 minute 35s. We're still 3 seconds off last year's pole time. That is purely down to rubbering in, to be honest. We've still got a little bit more rubbering in left to go. And given that we've only had 40 minutes of running here. Pierre Gasly across the line, third position for him. Great job there from Pierre Gasly, and honestly, he was performing quite fantastically in Brazil as well, up until about, I think it was Q2, and then the car fell flat, and his performance just really wasn't there, but Gasly, for whatever reason, was over the radio saying the car felt alive in Brazil in a way that it hasn't felt in the last few months, and was performing brilliantly. So it's good to see him back up there in third position, and I really do hope for Pierre Gasly's sake that Alpine can put together a good engine for 2026 and they can have a good car as well, because yes, for like Gasly is a great driver, looking back from 2019 when his career sort of took a nosedive when he joined the Red Bull team and went head to head with Max Verstappen. Since then, he has really built himself back up, and he's a fantastic driver. I'm sure he's doing a lot of the development work and the heavy lifting at the Alpine team. With Colapinto not having much experience in Formula One, Gasly's going to be the one leading the rule change developments, and he's done it before, of course, in 2022. Gasly led the transition from 21 to 22 for the new regulations, and he'll be doing the same thing again this year, and we'll see if it results in a much more competitive car for Alpine. All right, we have got Leclerc up at the top, George Russell in second, Hamilton on he's made a mistake and backed out of his flying lap. Not great. Why did Lewis set purple and back out? I think he must have made a mistake, or either he got hit with traffic, one of the two, and that's why he's backed out of his lap. Oliver Behrman up into 12th position, and Esteban Ocon up into 14th. How come there are no McLaren radios showing? It's because the McLarens are in the pits, so when they're in the pits, the radios don't show up. All right. Max lives rent-free in every teammate's mind. He does really, doesn't he? You look back at Max Verstappen versus his teammate at any circuit. You look at it at Spa, look at it at Austria, and Max Verstappen is just outstanding. So he is he's up there with the in the conversation for one of the greatest drivers of all time. I'm not going to say he is or he isn't, but yeah, he's up there in the conversation. And all of these drivers, Michael Schumacher, since when did he lose anything to his teammate? When did Fernando Alonso lose anything to his teammate? It's a hallmark of one of the greats, shall we say, that every single teammate that they come up against, they absolutely destroy. McLaren are definitely sandbagging. Well, they're both sat in the pits, so they're clearly not setting any quick lap times from the pit lane. We've got a yellow flag. Hamilton at turn 12. That's the same thing as Stroll, but I suspect he's just gone off onto the escape road and should be getting underway shortly. And yeah, there we go. All right, not too shabby. Max Verstappen was purple in the first sector. I don't know if he backed out of his lap because of the yellow flag. He's only 4 tenths down actually on the fastest middle sector, so I don't think he did. And the yellow flag had cleared up anyway, so not too much of an issue there for Max. Opens DRS as he heads towards turn number 14, 15 and 16. Final corners of the circuit. Very, very late on the brakes for turn number 14. And Max is running a super slim downforce. I don't know what he's done with the downforce package, but even without a toe, he's just gone 347 kilometers per hour through the speed trap, which is the quickest out of anyone. And the only person's record that he broke was his own record in terms of the speed trap speed. And he's just gone clear of Charles Leclerc by 12 milliseconds. So Charles Leclerc improves, but Leclerc only improves by 8 milliseconds, so he's still in second position, and Max Verstappen's still up there in first, and I don't know how Max does it, really. What setup have Red Bull cooked up that Max is going that quick down the straights without a toe? I have no idea. Zero McLaren radios all session. I don't know then. I'll have a look, but the radios are really an enigma. Oh my god, it's 1 a.m. and I can barely talk, but yeah, they are a bit of an enigma sometimes, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's only some teams. We take what we can get, really. Yeah. Purple in the middle sector there for Charles Leclerc despite all of this traffic, and looking pretty solid. Also, how has he gone purple? I think the data is having a little bit of a glitch out, to be honest, because it's showing all yellow. Oh, it's purple on his previous lap. Okay, yeah, so he's on a cooldown lap now. ERS use and engine modes differ drastically in practice. I wouldn't read into it to the speed traps at this stage. That is correct, of course. So the way that it really works is that the teams run a bunch of simulations. So essentially, the teams in each of the cars, they have a battery, and over the course of a flying lap, they can deploy, I think it's approximately like, I think it's like 30% or so of the battery that they can deploy on a single flying lap. They can just go maximum attack and deploy a huge chunk of the battery percentage. It might not be 30, it might be a little bit more, I can't remember exactly. But there's no point deploying your battery when you're going into the corner. When you're slamming on the brakes, it's pointless to use your battery. When you're accelerating through a medium speed corner, should you use battery? Should you not? Should you use it on the higher speed corner? Should you use it on the slower speed corners? That's something that I can't tell you directly, but the teams run loads of simulations and they try and work out where is the best place to deploy all of the battery and where's it going to get you most of the lap time. And they run these simulations and then they go test them out in real life, and they sort of tweak that. So maybe Max Verstappen's and Yuki Tsunoda's also just gone up top of the times, by the way. Any Yuki Tsunoda fans out there, he's just gone ahead of Max, up into first position by 0.5 of a second. Brilliant job there by Yuki Tsunoda. But yeah, as I was saying, the energy deployment system, you can see here clearly Verstappen and Tsunoda quickest through the speed traps, won first and second position for both of them through the speed trap. So clearly whatever Red Bull have done for their energy deployment system is prioritizing deploying the battery down this huge straight here that's just below me, and maybe it's deprioritizing a little bit in other places. For example, Verstappen and Tsunoda had really good laps, but their middle sectors weren't amazing compared to Charles Leclerc, and that might indicate that in the middle sector Charles Leclerc is deploying a lot more battery and backing off the battery deployment in the final sector, and that's helping him out. And in fact, it has just helped him out because Charles Leclerc's gone ahead of both the Red Bulls and is now a quarter a second ahead of both of them, top of the times, and he's done that on a 9-lap set of old soft tyres as well. Tsunoda and Verstappen both did it on a fresh set. Charles Leclerc comes out and does it on a 9-lap old set of soft tyres. So clearly, Ferrari have got something right here with the energy deployment. Red Bull are quickest through the speed traps, but that may not be the solution to being the quickest overall. What happened to the McLaren fumble? Well, Norris has just come out onto the circuit now on a fresh set of soft tyres, so let's wait and see, folks. Let's wait and see. We've got 4,000 people tuned into live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you are all enjoying the coverage here today. Also, yeah, hope you're enjoying the little bit more sort of low-key commentary session rather than, me shouting at the top of my voice and going really, getting really excited and stuff like that. Just having to be a little bit more quiet given that, there are people sleeping around me. And yeah, do let me know if you prefer that, but well, maybe I'll see what I can do for the next few race weekends. Anyway, Norris on a flying lap, so let's go on board with Lando Norris. It is 26.8 through the first sector, so it's about a 10th down on Lewis Hamilton, 10th down on Max Verstappen, so reasonably good through the first sector. The question is, what's he going to do through the middle sector? That's where you've got the slow speed corners, that's where you've got most of the corners really in Las Vegas, and that's where the downforce can count, which is where the McLaren tends to have its strengths. But we've just got a yellow flag, and that is for Norris going through turn number 12. Looks like he's had the same issue that Hamilton had and that Lance Stroll has had as well. He's gone deep into the braking zone, had to bring out the yellow flag, and Lando Norris has aborted his lap. Okay. Chill sessions are nice too. Alright, that's, I think it's good. F1 Gamer just joined. What's going on with the McLarens taking so long? I don't know why they're sat in the pit so long. Maybe they just had a lot of setup changes to make. I'm not totally sure, but they were one of the last drivers to come into the pits, won the on the medium tyres from the first stint or the first sessions or the first runs of the session, and now they're one of the last drivers to come out on the soft tyres as well. Right, for practice is okay, but qualifying in the race hype is good to keep the Ferrari fans in hope. Yes, of course, during qualifying and during the race, I will be a lot more sort of excited and upbeat and everything. But I think it's nice to have a little bit of a chill session sometimes as well. McLaren wasting softs. Yeah, I mean, it's not too much of a problem given that we're not at a sprint weekend. Tyres aren't at such a valuable cost anymore, so the drivers can sort of get away with wasting a set here or there, and they're not even really wasting them. They've just put one extra lap on them. Piastri, however, is on a flying lap now. Let's see what he can do. He makes his way through turn number 5. He's got a clean track up ahead of him through 6, 7, 8 and 9, and is yellow through the first sector, 29.7. That's 3 seconds off the pace. So yeah, the McLarens, I don't know what they're doing. Is there extra fuel in Piastri's car? I don't think so. I think 3 seconds off the pace is definitely, I made a mistake in going into the first corner and now I have to back out my lap. So there we go again. Another mistake for another McLaren driver. Alright, Max is back out on mediums, and so is Russell, so is Antonelli. With 10 minutes left on the clock, they're just going to be doing long runs till the end of the session. So, evaluating how those medium tyres wear out once they've got a little bit more fuel in the car, and they're doing sort of race pace speeds rather than qualifying speeds. And they're doing consistent hot laps rather than, consistent flying laps rather than hot lap and then slow down lap and then hot lap and slow down lap. Folks, I have an interesting question here, actually. Will Sergio Perez or Valtteri Bottas be quicker in next year's season? Which of the two drivers will come out on top in terms of championship points? Or will they both end up on 0 because Cadillac will be slow? I think, actually, it's going to be a bit of a tough one, really, because Sergio Perez was no slouch compared to Max Verstappen. Like, of course, he was never really going to be up there, but Max is very much on another level. But the same thing could be said for Valtteri Bottas. You know, he was on a good day, could compete against Lewis Hamilton. There were a few races in 2019 where he would quite definitively beat Lewis Hamilton, and the same thing could be said for Sergio Perez on a few races. You know, in Baku. He could beat Max Verstappen, but then most of the times it wouldn't really happen. So we've got a lot of people saying here Valtteri Bottas, a few people saying Sergio Perez as well. Maybe I'll put out a poll in the community post. Also, folks, a little bit more news over the off season. You know, I was actually looking at my calendar. It is 2 weeks and 2 days, and then we have the final race of the season, folks. 2 weeks, 2 days, final race of the season. That is how close we are to the season ending. And I was just thinking about what I should do during the off season, and I have got in contact with a few Formula One engineers, and we're looking to do a sort of podcast / interview sort of style thing where, well, we're going to be talking about the 2026 cars, talking about a few of what it's like to work as a Formula One engineer and stuff like that. So do let me know if you're sort of interested in that stuff, if it's a video that you'd watch. And I think a little bit later and closer to the time of when I'm doing these interviews, I will also put out a community post and ask you guys, you know, what questions should I ask and what things are you interested in finding out? Because I think I think it'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Will I do it in real life? Hopefully. So hopefully, yeah, I would. I'd love to get them in person. Of course, if it's not in person, then maybe not. Will I do it live? Live, maybe not. Sort of. We'll just have to see. Really, we'll have to see how it goes, because not I'm reasonably good at doing live broadcasts, but not everyone's going to be happy with, you know, talking live, and sometimes they want to cut some stuff and not say things to the public. So it's probably a little bit better to do it pre-recorded and then put them up on YouTube. Bortoleto is going to be investigated for a yellow flag infringement, so I think Bortoleto just drove a little quickly through yellow flags. F1 Gamer, do you still have merch available? I need an F1 hoodie. The merch is still available. It is slipstream.clothing. However, the designs have not really been completed. I've been very, very busy with university and looking for jobs and, well, doing these streams and many other things as well. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to finish all the designs. The plan is to get those done over the off season when there isn't any stuff on the weekends going on, and I'll dedicate my weekends to getting those designs done. So if you are, of course, interested, there are some. I think Nico Hulkenberg's up there, Verstappen's up there, Hamilton's also there, Charles Leclerc's also there, but I haven't done the rest of the drivers, so have a look. Okay, here we go then. 5 minutes remain of this session, and we have got Charles Leclerc top of the times, Alex Albon in second position, Tsunoda third, Verstappen fourth, Carlos Sainz 5th. The two McLaren drivers have done their flying laps. It is 5th and 6th position for them. However, I would not really trust that. I have a feeling that they put a little bit more fuel in their car than was necessary. Then we've got the Mercs in 8th and 9th position. I expected them to be good this weekend. However, that expectation has not come true so far. Lewis Hamilton down in 10th, unfortunately, 8 tenths back from his teammate, or 7.5 tenths back from his teammate. Pierre Gasly in 11th, Lawson 12th, Stroll 13th, Hadjar 14th, Behrman 15th, Ocon 16th, Hulkenberg 17th, Bortoleto 18th, Colapinto 19th, and Fernando Alonso is in 20th, surprisingly enough. Not exactly sure why, but he hasn't managed to put together a lap on a set of soft tyres yet. For whatever reason, he made a mistake on his previous lap in the middle sector and had to back out of it, so we'll see what the Spaniard can do. He's currently on a flying lap, goes through the first sector. What's it going to be? It's a 26.9. Not too bad from him. FP2 will be wet, I'm guessing. Well, let me just get up the Las Vegas weather, actually. Let me just refresh it. Okay, so it is saying the chance of rain in Las Vegas in how many? It's 2.5 hours time. It's saying 20% here. If I am reading this correctly, yes, 20% chance of rain. However, looking to this same time tomorrow, there is a 35% chance of rain for free practice 3 or quali to have rain in. So yeah, we shall see. I'll get maybe some more news forecasts and see. Oh, actually, wait. The BBC News, which uses a different, weather forecasting system to Google, is predicting that it is going to be a 70% chance of rain or a 75% chance of rain for free practice 2. So, folks, if you can make it to free practice 2, I would highly recommend, given that we are, well, there's a chance that we're going to have some wet conditions. Still yet to be seen. As we know, it's pretty difficult to predict the rain, and given the fact that it's in a desert, I'm sure that makes it a little bit harder and a little bit more unpredictable. I'm not a meteorologist, but yeah, I think that sort of makes sense. You should really have merch links in the channel comment area. Yeah, I actually forgot to. Yeah, I should probably put those links in actually. Yeah, but the link is, if anyone is interested, it's slipstream.clothing, and you should be able to find it. All right. Okay. So, Alonso is... I think he's backed out of his lap again, has he? Yeah, Alonso backed out of his second flying lap, and now he's on his third flying lap, and is now making his way through sector number 2. So quite a few mistakes here from Fernando Alonso. It's also another thing for the drivers, like managing all of these time zone shifts as well. A lot of these cars, a lot of these teams are based in the UK. So between races, so between Brazil and the race here in Las Vegas, the cars will have been flown back to the UK, and the drivers will have gone back to the UK. They will have done a lot of simulator work in the week's break, and done some more testing for the 2026 car. adapted to that time zone, and now here they are in Las Vegas with a 8-hour time zone shift again. So it's a little bit difficult really for the drivers dealing with all of that jet lag. Of course, they're very, very experienced at it. I'm sure Alonso's been doing it for 20 years now, but only 13th position for him on his third flying lap attempt on a single set of soft tyres. Just another thing that you don't really think about, but yeah, jet lag has an effect on all of these drivers. All right. 1 minute and 7 seconds remain here, folks. We've got all 20 drivers out on the track. And yeah, Ferrari up in first position, Albon up there in second. So Albon, of course, losing a little bit of running at the start of free practice 1 due to some unknown issue, but managed to make it out onto the circuit again. Also, another thing I'd like to say, the top speed difference that I was mentioning a little bit earlier on is only present now for Colapinto. Colapinto's going 330, but Max Verstappen's going 347, and Pierre Gasly, who is second slowest, is doing 337. So there's only a 10 km/h difference between Verstappen and Gasly, who Verstappen being the fastest and Gasly being the second slowest. So top speeds have sort of evened themselves out, and everyone's got closer in terms of having a closer setup to the rest of the drivers. And that is all really. Nobody is going to be setting any blisteringly quick lap times here in the final few moments of FP1. We've got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 second remaining on the clock. In fact, actually, hold that thought. Alex Albon's on a flying lap, and so is Isaac Hadjar. So let's wait and see what is the outcome of these flying laps. Both drivers making their way now through turns number 10 and 11. Isaac Hadjar a little bit deep onto the brakes in towards 12, manages to make it through though and get the car rotated. Albon does the same as well, and in fact Albon is looking yellow flag. Albon doesn't do the same. Albon actually, well, brings out the yellow flag and is moving again, I think. Yes, Albon is moving again, so manages to keep it out of the barriers, but he has brought out the yellow flag, ruined the drivers behind his lap as well. But Isaac Hadjar does continue on. He is green in sector 1, green in sector 2, and here we are coming through the final few corners across the line. Isaac Hadjar, 7th position. Great job there from him. And that is all for free practice 1, folks. So I'm quickly just going to read out the standings. Leclerc first, Albon second, Tsunoda third, Verstappen fourth, Sainz fifth, Norris sixth, Hadjar 7th, Piastri 8th, Russell 9th, Antonelli 10th, Hamilton 11th, Gasly 12th, Lawson 13th, Alonso 14th, Stroll 15th, Behrman 16th, Ocon 17th, Hulkenberg 18th, Bortoletto 19th, and Colapinto 20th. So that is all from me, folks. That is the end of free practice 1. The drivers are just going to make their way back into the pits after doing some practice starts, and big lock up there for Albon when he was pushing. So yeah, we've had quite a few issues really for drivers, to be honest, so we'll see how that goes. But that is all from me here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream. It's going to take you over to the free practice 2 stream. That stream will be starting in 2 hours time, as you can see by the timer up ahead. And well, I look forward to seeing you then. I'm going to probably try and get a little bit of a nap and see if I can get some sleep in between the 2 streams. And I shall see you in 2 hours' time for free practice for free practice 2. And let me just drop the link in the chat. FP2, there we go. Alright, there's the link to the FP2 stream. If you can't use the link, it will take you there automatically anyway. So that is all from me. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Had a nice little chill stream, and hope to have another one in 2 hours' time. So I shall see you then. Bye-bye.